Hello, I'm Bradley Grinnan, creator of Own Your Life, also the founder, also whatever, all things of the person who started it. It is my business. I'm a life coach and a mentor. Some of you in this group, you already know me. Some of you have no idea who I am other than maybe hearing my podcast or we've had a conversation via email or Facebook or whatever. I'm really glad you're here. You're going to hear a little bit of an echo in here. Welcome to my headquarters. This is the new place that I moved into, also known as my home. And thanks for watching this. We're going to get into the Own Your Life Planner, but I wanted to lay out a few things. And I don't have my lighting up, and I'm doing this on my iPhone, so I apologize. But what I really wanted to do is get this to you right away. In fact, it's not even going to be edited. We're just going to shoot through in one take. And that's fine. The whole reason why I started down this scheduling pathway that we've been talking about, I was thinking about it and how it had impacted my life. I was working with a couple clients through their scheduling mindset, if you will, or the frame or reference for scheduling that they had. And they were really struggling with some of the things I used to struggle with when it came to scheduling. And I realized this could really have a big impact, not because, as I mentioned in episode 26, it's not that I want to help you cram more stuff into your day so that you can be busier and feel better about yourself, be able to check stuff off. I really believe that the power that lies in scheduling comes with being able to live out in really actionable and tangible ways those things that you value. Real joy in life for me is knowing my purpose in this season of my life and aligning it with what I do every single day, so that I can wake up every day and I can begin doing things immediately that I know will take me in my life in the direction I want it to go. All right, so I'm not floating, and everything that I'm doing is somehow involved with those things that I really enjoy, that I truly value. Otherwise, why are we doing this thing called life? And I'm certainly not the first person to ask that question, and there certainly are a lot of tragedies. You probably know somebody who isn't with us today because they just couldn't wrap themselves around something they were dealing with, a chemical imbalance, a lack of life having purpose for them. So what this sheet is, and I put it up last night so that you could download it late last night. What this sheet is it's a way to take what you value and turn it into an action that you can put on your schedule so that you're living the life based on the values that you hold dear. Now, let me give you my definition of values. You don't have to agree with me. It doesn't really matter, as long as you can use this as a tool to get some leverage to be doing the things you want to do in life. To me, values are an emotional state or emotional states that we believe are most important for us to experience something or avoid something, all right? I'm going to say that again. Values are emotional states that we believe are most important to us in order for us to experience something, probably something pleasurable or something with deep meaning or something that just affects us in a positive way. Or a value is something that we use, an emotional state, to avoid something like pain. And that's not always, it's neutral, right? It's not good or bad either way. But it can be positive or it can be negative. And I don't mean like positive thinking or pessimism. I mean, it can be a really positive thing in your life or it can be a really negative thing. What does that look like? Well, if you value certainty, okay, if you value safety, if that's really high on your priority list, I'm talking about like emotional certainty, then your life is going to look a certain way. Wherever you are right now, you probably know exactly where the exit is. You know if there's anyone behind you. If you're sitting in a coffee shop, you're really aware of your surroundings. If you value variety, you may not even know how you got to this video, but you're just like, yeah, man, let's go all in. Let's do this. I want to do this. And those two different values, one to avoid pain, certainty, to avoid the pain of not being able to pay your bills, pain of getting hurt, pain of blah, blah, blah. Or if you value variety, then it's because you want to experience the pleasure of being surprised, right? And not all surprise is great. But depending on what you value, it's going to determine the actions you take and the life you live in, the kind of emotional state that you're in more often than not. And I would say to you, if you don't know what your values are, if you don't know what those emotional states are that you prefer, and what takes you to the deep, long-lasting, sustaining place of joy and fulfillment, then find out. For me, that place of deep joy and fulfillment comes from knowing my purpose in this season of my life and aligning it with what I do every day. So that's why I came up with this. Now, let's get right into this. This may look a little familiar if you've done any kind of productive work. This is, some people call this a one-page planner. Some people call it a productivity sheet. For me, I call it Own Your Life Planner because that's the name of my company, Own Your Life, and it's a planner. So yeah, brilliant and creative, I know. But this is how it works, and this is how you're going to use it in order not just to fill up your schedule with the things that you value, but I think to take action and have a great life. So right up here in the corner, it says, what do I deeply value today? Now, the first thing that I want to say here is this gets filled out the night before. Okay, so if you can take just like 5 minutes to fill this out the night before so that when you wake up, you can just like hit your morning routine, hit your morning ritual, whatever it is, from a cup of coffee and a cigarette to like yoga and prayer and meditation, whatever. So that you can get up and you're not asking, what am I doing today? Right? You've got a certainty already. And when you go to sleep, you aren't worried about what's happening the next day because you know, and you know that it has value. So what do I deeply value today? So like I mentioned in the podcast, A might be love and connection. Like you value being in relationship and interacting with people and giving and taking and everything that comes with relationships, friendships or intimate relationships or whatever, in relationships with your children. So you would want to put that up there. And then let's say you value fun. All right, that's great because I do, and oftentimes fun lands up here on what I value. So you would put fun down. This is what I'm going to value today. And if you're doing it the night before, it's what you value tomorrow. It's like, what do you value? And then let's say C is contribution. I almost said country. Contribution. So you value contributing to other people, making a deep impact. Great. So you've got love and connection, you've got fun, and you've got contribution. This is really important. Knowing what you value so you know what kind of life that you're going to live during your day. Tell me what's more important than that, because I'm struggling to even think of anything. Then we get into the projects. Okay, so trust me on this. If you're an expert in scheduling, or if you've never scheduled before, excuse me while I unwind this cord. If you've been scheduling every day for years, if you've never scheduled before, if you can just schedule 3 projects a day, and you've never scheduled before, you're doing awesome. If you can schedule 3 projects and you've been scheduling for a long time, this is actually going to take you to a whole nother level in your life, particularly around scheduling. So project 1, project 2, project 3, all right? So who knows, whatever your project 1 is, let's say you want to create a video and because you want to have an impact on people. So you're going to put video, and then you're going to list the top 5 things, 5 actions that just move you a step closer to getting that video done and releasing it, publishing it, marketing it, blah, blah, blah. So you might have a bunch of stuff like write down content. What is it that you want to say? Secure equipment and set up. I had to do a little bit of that today. And then your 3rd might be practice. And then your 4th might be nail it. And then your 5th would be whatever you got to do to edit and wrap up. Something simple like that. Now, what does that, or how does that connect with your values? So that's what's right here. It says value, A, B, C. So love and connection. For me, doing a video certainly would have to do with connecting with other people. And so I would circle A. B, I have fun doing this kind of stuff. So I would circle B and I would actually circle C too, because obviously it's contribution. I'm not doing this just for fun. I'm doing it so that you can, doing it so that my iPad can go blank. Guess I got to touch that screen more. So yeah, I'm doing this because I care. I want to make an impact. I want to be able to help, and I hope you find it helpful. If not, you know, there are a lot of great people who are doing a lot of great stuff like this, and find them and use them, whatever, just so you've got a better life. And then priority. Now, you see 3 letters here, E-I-M. So I'd circle whatever values. Maybe on something it's just 1 value, maybe 2. On this one, I'd have all 3 of the things I value. And then if you go down here, the E stands for an emergency, okay? So is this an emergency? Is this something that has to go out today? In my case, with this video, it is actually an emergency in a sense, because I was like, oh, you know what? What if I just do a video to explain this? I thought about that last night. So I knew it had to happen today, and I'm doing a bunch of other stuff. And because I've scheduled, I knew I had this window. So I've already changed the tires on my car. I've already connected with my kids at the playground. We went and we had some Mediterranean food, and we just kind of kicked around the city of Richmond for a little bit. I also made a bunch of phone calls this morning, and I've got clients this evening, and I'm going to do everything that I want to do because I figured this out before I fell asleep last night. So it is kind of an emergency, but it's also an investment. I will use this video to create better videos. But more than that, when we're talking about investment, I mean more like if you're looking at Stephen Covey's 4 quads, this would be like a quad 2, right? So it's not something that has to happen today. It's not urgent, but it is very important. And it's something you want to do. It's sort of like the maintenance and the creative part of what you're doing in life. So if you're doing this video and it's not an emergency, maybe it's an investment, because maybe you don't have to publish it for like 2 weeks out, but you know, if you can start now, if you might have a better idea after recording your video, and then you know you've got time to really amp up the quality of your video to connect on deeper levels, which I won't, because I'm going to record this and pop it online for you guys right away. And then M, and you want to live in investment. This is where you want to live. If you're new to scheduling, you probably got a ton of emergencies. Stuff that's really urgent, it's really important, you've got to do it, but you kind of feel like you're behind the 8 ball. I know some of you live in emergency land because it's the only way you know how to work. You feel like it's the only way you can actually be motivated to do stuff. But trust me when I say, once you begin living into your values and realize the freedom that comes with living in investment and taking care of stuff in advance because you can, because you have the time, because you're actually scheduling what you want to do, and dropping off of your schedule stuff you don't want to do, life gets so much better. And then 3, M is for mandatory. These are things that you don't want to do, but you just frickin' have to do them, like taxes, right? I'm going to be hitting M soon. It's something I got to do. I don't really want to do it. I wish I didn't have to do it. I certainly wish I never had to pay taxes, regardless of what I believe about taking care of other people, which I do. I still don't want to pay taxes because that's my money. So for this video, let's say you would circle an I, all right? So it's an investment. You know, you don't have to do it for a couple weeks, but you're doing it now, and you can because you've scheduled it, because it's important to you. It's what you value. Sorry if I'm beating that to death, but to me, that is such an important concept. So you're going to do 3 projects, right? And maybe you'll slot 2 hours and 2 hours and 2 hours. That's a 6-hour workday, okay? Now, I know you got other stuff to do, but just go with me here, right? So maybe it's an hour, an hour, and an hour. So it's 3 hours, but you're nailing 3 projects. And you don't have to complete it all. If you don't get through project 1, just schedule time for it the next day. Eventually, you'll get this thing done, all right? Now, if it's an emergency, you're probably going to have to schedule all the time you need to make it and then push these other 2 projects to the next day. Okay, seriously, That's what you're going to have to do then. Now, once you get these on your schedule, you are golden. If you can just get 3 projects on your schedule every day that you value, it's going to change your life, absolutely. And I get that it's going to take you a while to get through the emergencies because maybe you've let stuff stack up, but that doesn't mean that you can't get to investments. And you're always going to have some mandatories from time to time because you committed to something you didn't want to. But even that, if we can narrow it down so we're always investing, that's truly where our power lies, okay? And this is what I said, my schedule is an extension of my intentions. If this stuff doesn't make it onto the schedule, what's the point, okay? Everything on here gets put on your schedule. And if it's not on here, don't schedule it. It's that simple. It's not important enough to do. It doesn't align with your values. Now, my schedule is an extension of my intentions. So make sure everything gets on. Now, here's another part that I use to help with my day, and I use this with my clients. People I need to connect with today and how, all right? So I know I need to connect with like 3 different people from 3 different companies that I'm doing business with. I also had to connect with my mom today, so I literally wrote mom and phone call. The rest of these were emails, okay? And then, in fact, none of my clients are actually on here because I've already got them scheduled out in advance, the hours that I'm gonna coach them. So this is just people I know I need to connect with. And again, I want to try to keep it in the investment. And then things I need to check off my list. These are things that are not necessary, but they're important. All right. So it's like change the tires on my car because I got to go to North Carolina tomorrow. So just put them on there and then check them off. So you got a little to-do list. Don't make this to-do list longer. To-do list, the studies are out and the data is in, all right? To-do lists suck, all right? There's some gratification there, but it will really throw you off, not just your productivity, but how you feel about yourself. So just, some of the major things you got to do, they're important, but they're not necessarily necessary. And then here's not necessarily necessary. Did you catch that? Here's one of the last things here, and I love this. What will I do to enjoy life and celebrate it today? These are things I like to do that give me life as a reward for being intentional. And literally today I had up there, one of the things I want to do is take my daughters to a playground because we love playing outside. It just fills me up to be able to connect with them on a visceral level, on a heartfelt level, and they need that. They need to know their dad loves them, and I need to know they love me. I need that. So, another thing, if you love video gaming, then have at it. This goes on there and it gets scheduled in for some point when you get some of your junk done. Or if it's important enough, you schedule it into the middle of your day. Great food. Who doesn't love great food? Maybe that is one way you want to enjoy life and celebrate it. If we aren't enjoying life and celebrating it on some level every day, again, what's the point? All right? So let's live into these things. And all of this is just about intentionality. I'm being intentional about the kind of life I want to live, and I can only live one day at a time. And if you want to break it down, I've got one moment at a time, and we could just totally deconstruct from there. And then this last part, my purpose for this season in life is, okay? And you write that down. And listen, there's so much talk about purpose, and I get it, and it starts to drive me crazy when everyone's talking about follow your purpose, find your purpose, what is your purpose? It's an important question. And you may not know what your purpose for all of life is, or you may, but at the very least, you can know what your purpose is in this season of your life. Right now, what is my purpose? If you don't know, what do you want it to be? Like, you totally get to determine that, all right? It doesn't have to be this mystical, I finally found my purpose. Like, what do you want your purpose to be in this season? It could even be for today. Write it down there. Everything on this page should be aligned with this statement. If it isn't, you're going to have some kind of cognitive dissonance that's going to create stress and anxiety. And the whole point of doing this is to release that, to completely release that. So you'll want to write that down and follow it from there. So this isn't rocket science. It's really simple, but trust me when I say the most fulfilled deep impacting, successful people that I know personally, they use a sheet just like that, just like this, so that they're structuring their day, their weeks, their months intentionally and on purpose. That's how we do the things we want to do. This whole thing started from a statement from somebody saying, how do I sustain momentum for change, right? So you made some changes, you were inspired, maybe you're losing some motivation. Well, just begin living into your values by scheduling them. If you're doing this, it won't matter if you feel like it or not. You know what you value, so you put it on your schedule, and then you wake up the next day and you begin doing these things. And if you wake up the next day and an opportunity comes up to absolutely live into life in a way you never could, then just toss it aside and go do that thing. You're in charge. It's your life. So what are your values? Your projects. Circle how they're connected. If you can't circle how they're connected, maybe you shouldn't be doing it today. Priority, is it emergency, which is understandable, we have those. Is it an investment? Try to live there, or is it just mandatory and you just got to do it? And you're going to have that stuff, so that's fine. Then make sure it gets scheduled, okay? Your schedule is an extension of your intentions. If this stuff doesn't make it to your schedule, then it's all just a dream. You're just dreaming, right? When it gets to your schedule, and then when you hit your schedule that day, just go do it. You don't have to wonder if you should be doing it. You don't even have to look for motivation. Just go do the thing, because you know you're living into the kind of life that you're already certain you want to have. And then people you need to connect with, this just will keep us in line in our one-page sheet here to make sure we're reaching out, connecting with who we need to, things that have to be checked off the list, and then what am I going to do to celebrate and enjoy life today? Very important to me. Hope it's important to you too. And then my purpose for this season in life is, and then you write it down, and everything on this sheet should somehow be connected to that. Thanks for listening to this. Hope you didn't get too bored. Hope you didn't get too tired. Hope you're still with us. Download this sheet. I actually print them off. When I first started working with productivity planners, and again, this is one that I've used about 4 or 5 different ones in the last few years, and this, I pulled everything I liked and then created some new things so I could really focus on values. I used to want to have it digitally, but what I have found is I just like the feel of pen and paper. So I print these out, and if I'm going somewhere, I stick it in my man bag, which is what my daughters call my briefcase because it's leather. I'm like, Daddy, why do you have a man bag? Anyways, I regress. So yeah, so I just print mine off, write it out. If you want to create it digitally, because you can do that with anything, if you've got the PDF software and the tools, just click in, and then you can use this digitally. I like having it in my hand and having a pen to paper. I like to write that way too. So I printed off tonight. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to fill mine out. I've got about 45 of these filled out from the last month and a half that I've been working with. And I schedule everything. I schedule not just when I'm doing work, but I schedule in the evening too, because I want to be just as intentional with my family and with my girlfriend as I am with the work that I do. And I mean, if I want to go see a play, I'm going to schedule that because I need to know that I can't put something else in there 2 weeks out. Does that make sense? If you have any questions, all right, after watching this, just put it right on the Slack. Put it in the 30-day challenge in the private channel. Again, I just want to welcome all of you that came in. We're going to have a few more, then we're going to launch this 30-day challenge. You're the beta for the webinar. And I'm seriously here for any level of support that I can be. If you guys want to do like a live webinar where you can literally ask questions and I can answer them, that's great. If you're like, no, Brad, I don't really need you. Give me the sheet, get out of my way. More power to you. Here's the one thing I would ask. Other people are in this group and they need to hear what you're dealing with, what you're struggling with, where you're succeeding. They need to, because they will not feel so alone. So if you haven't spoken up yet, maybe just type something. And I get you may be an introvert. I am actually introverted, which you may not believe, but I get recharged by being alone. Go out on a limb here and share what's going on, share what you're struggling with or how you're succeeding so that other people can interact with you. We can all get ideas. There's so much I can learn from you and the people in this group, and I would love to. So don't rob us, all right? Let us know who you are, why you're here, what you're doing, and what you hope to get out of these next 30-some days. I really appreciate you. Probably going to do another video about something, I don't know what, but I just feel like we're going to do another video. So thanks so much. I'm going to walk away from the camera to turn it off, doing this in one take. But I wish you the best. I hope that tomorrow you can wake up and you can do everything in your day with a sense of purpose, with a sense of passion, and they're all things that you actually want to do because they take you to your values. Much love, and I'll talk to you later.